Assalamu alaikum. Peace. It's Nyla, Coach Nyla.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah.
Welcome, 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 everybody.
Spring. It's spring.
Assalamu alaikum. And peace. Nyla, Coach Nyla.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah.
Inshallah, we'll be getting started in about a minute or so, about 90 seconds. Let us know where you are watching us from. And we're doing a short Q&A today. Of course, it's spring. Time for cultivating. How are you cultivating your relationships? So, but let us know where you guys are watching from. And make sure if you have any questions, you put question marks in front of the question and after question, so we know and we'll be able to pick it out immediately throughout the different comments that we get. It keeps readjusting.
Yeah.
Like autofocus. Okay. Yes. I'm going to give you guys some time to get on, log in, share, because sharing is caring. If you're on YouTube, I assume that you guys got the notification. If not, and you just happen to see us, alhamdulillah, that's good. However, make sure you click that notification bell. Make sure you subscribe so you will get notified when we go live, as well as the video updates that we do weekly.
Yes. And if you're not following social medias, follow us on IG at Outstanding Relationships, and on YouTube, Facebook, Outstanding Personal Relationships as well.
Assalamu alaikum, peace, everybody. Coach Nazir. We're just gonna stop in for a few seconds, as the ladies have stated. Take a couple of questions. But where y'all from? Halima, alaikum salam, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh for everybody joining and has joined or will be joining shortly. Again, plan to keep it brief and short. I guess that's the same thing, right? Nevertheless, if you have some questions, feel free to ask. We are going to ask you to put question marks before the questions and go from there. Usually we talk about polygyny because polygyny does not get a lot of airplay. So we'll talk about why, might not, or some myths that people have regarding that.
Oh, fear. There's a lot of fear around and surrounding polygyny and just having a conversation about it, period. Because of geography, because of belief systems, and people don't like that word share in that regard when it comes to polygyny or plural marriage. And we know that, so we wanted to really create Outstanding Personal Relationships as a space to have these conversations about marriage, polygyny, and wives and co-wives and all things that might be upsetting to many. We understand, and we want to talk about those things. That's why we said, leave a comment, send a question in with the question marks in front of it. And I think one of the reasons I like what we're doing is because when I was looking for information, there wasn't much information about places to talk about polygyny. So I think once we start doing that, and it's not something normal to most people, although it predates Islam. We've talked about that history.
Yeah,
we talked about that too.
Yeah.
And that's important to say that because, everybody pretty much associates it, polygyny with Muslims and,
Mormons.
not the case. A lot of people practice.
But and that's the interesting thing because it seems as though people have more issue with polygyny than polygamy.
Yeah.
And it's not the same thing. I mean, it's polygyny is specific, and it's specifically a man being married to multiple wives, or multiple women who are his wives, of course. The interesting thing is, though, when you look at society, society is okay with boyfriends and girlfriends. They okay with this person being
They're
with this
okay with
person and
boyfriends
everything
and
like that.
boyfriends.
Yeah, they're okay with a lot of those different things. So the interesting part of where people have the issue with polygyny, and this is, hey guys, comment below if let me know if you think I'm wrong. One of the things I think is that when you really put someone out there, or you have the man being responsible for more than one, and that more than one is actually his main chick, because that's the thing when people will say, oh, well, I'm the main chick and she's the side chick, or she's this and that and the other. But when you have someone where it's like, okay, well, it's not just you, it's someone else, and probably another person, or whatever the case may be, that people have an issue with not being number one. And not saying that, not saying that is unfounded or anything like that. It is what it is. However, when it comes to the bigger picture, because we are selfish people, people are really selfish. That's all around the board, regardless of, if you practice polygyny, you don't practice polygyny. And it's not necessarily a bad thing to be selfish. The thing is that when your selfishness comes into play, where it demeans other people, when it demeans people who practice something that is for the greater good or anything like that, that's when a lot of the issues arise. Hence, we talk about cultivating relationships. That's all around the board. People are really good with, like my co-wife just said, with not having issues with the boyfriend or the gay marriages or anything like that. However, when polygyny is brought up, it's like, oh, no, wait, don't talk about that. Or no, we don't like that. Or, oh, the women must be, brainwashed, or these different things. When if you are really thinking deeply about it, and you really don't have to think that deep, but if you're thinking deeply about it, you'll see that it's, a bigger purpose there, and it's for the greater good. And actually people who practice it are very wise, as we toot our own horn, I'm not saying that just to do that, but when it comes down to it, you look at the bigger picture, you look at society, you look at, other things, and no one's saying, that there's no selfishness in there, where it's like, because we do take care of ourselves. As my co-wife talked about in her RMIC training, and we talked about in RMIC this month, about getting yourself together. And when it comes to getting yourself together, you have to start with self. That's getting yourself together. So you have to be selfish, to an extent, when it comes to cultivating your relationships. You have to be selfish when it comes to cultivating your relationship with self. You can cultivate better relationships with other people as well.
Indeed. So, all right, brother has a question. I'm assuming it's a brother. I don't know. On IG says, all right, what does Muslim dating look like? How's a brother supposed to approach a sister whose family is not Muslim at all? And then there's a follow-up question saying, what are red flags? All right. Well, since there's no such thing as Islamic dating, really quickly, if she's observing the rules and everything else, there's a whole program, there's a whole process, I should say. Even, for example, before we accepted Islam, there was a whole thing of really asking the father for the hand, right? Well, if she doesn't have any Muslim male relatives, she still needs a mahram, or somebody who, not necessarily a mahram, if there's no male relatives, meaning somebody she's related to, but somebody that can be her wakil or her representative. So whether that is a local imam at the masjid, but it should be somebody that's known to be trustworthy in the community. And if they are willing to step in as a chaperone, whether it be through the phone or online calls or meeting somewhere at a masjid or something like that, to meet Islamically, okay? If, again, she doesn't have any Muslim family members. If she does have Muslim family members, of course, it's a relatively simple process. Now, what are red flags, though, in relationships, and then maybe in polygyny specifically when it comes to that?
It's a really interesting question, as far as what are red flags, because sometimes they don't show up till later. But One thing is that you can see someone's being very controlling, and that's whether it's male or female. I've seen it in both situations. And what does that look like? That looks like a person trying to distance you from, your social circle. And I mean, seriously, not saying if you have a bad social circle, then it's totally different. But, your family, your friends, and they're really trying to distance you from the isolation. Yeah, that's a red flag.
For me as a Muslim woman, if I'm, well, y'all know I ain't looking to marry nobody. There he is, bro. But I have to say this: a lot of women look at how, if you're Muslim and you're male, how you worship Allah is important. If you're not praying, if you're not taking care of the kids you have, if you're not taking care of the wife you have, you're not a candidate to even get married again. So if your relationship, the reason why, and I'll say this and I'll say it again, the reason why this works is because, I'm not the horn tooting type. However, I like to give credit where it's due when people do their work. Coach Nazir has a relationship with Allah, and then everything after that is secondary. So once that's intact and in place, then there's accountability, and then you can look at the man and say, okay, his relationship with his Lord is healthy, then this is going to work because he's going to try, because he cares about being accountable to Allah. So that I'm speaking directly toward Muslim men and women too. So if a brother wants to marry a sister, she gonna act like she gonna practice today and then not tomorrow or this morning or not tonight, or she prayed, or there's different things of that nature, just Muslim to Muslim, that you can observe and that will be clear to you that are red flags or gold stars. Either way it goes, but it's important to say that goes both ways, because you can wear all of this and have a hateful heart that is full of disease. But it's the other actionable things that are beyond wearing hijab that I look at in just people, period. Especially the people in our community, Muslim people. People look at us all the time. So if Coach Nazir is being good to one and not the other, and it's just clear and it's out there, I don't know why he can't be good to this one. It's just some of those common sense things that we might look past that we need to really look at and examine.
I agree. Was that it? That was a follow-up. I mean, red flags specific to polygyny, though. Like, why not to? Whatever. I mean, one of the things is if a person is trying to make it as a secret, like this is a secret thing. And here's the interesting thing too, even about that part, because when people say, well, the wife didn't know initially or certain things like that, they say, well, the person married the person in secret. And that's not necessarily the case, because they're known. It's just that it wasn't a permission thing, or it wasn't known before they got married by the initial wife. That doesn't mean a person was secretive or the person is being in secret.
There's a difference between the words secret and private that needs to be addressed. There's one thing, I got married in private and there was a handful of people. They got married in private, it's a handful of people. It's not a secret though.
Yeah. Now, if you've been hidden away from society and from, other people and everything like that, then that's different. So that is a red flag too, where it's like, no, I don't want nobody to know. Or, it's just our thing. So, that's a red flag.
Like you have one wife and you have more than one wife. So if somebody says you have another wife, and you go, oh no, I don't have another wife and kids. Where in some cases that would be important to keep that to yourself, based on if the environment is super hostile and doesn't support it. Like if it's hostile and you're like, I think if somebody's willing to take your freedom and they in your living room and they're threatening you, there's so many different layers to it. But
Right. Well, I think the same red flags in any relationship. We talk about red flags. Here's the thing. Many of us are adults simply because we're post-pubescent. We pass puberty. That's it. But mentally and emotionally, we still children. Many of us are still children. You haven't learned anything about self-awareness or self-discipline, or you have not taken courses or classes to work on you, to how to communicate better, how to listen more effectively. So one of the questions I would ask, if you intending somebody, you want to figure, what are you currently reading right now? What course are you going through? What are you doing for your own enrichment? All right. And if there's nothing there, depending on your caliber of person, for me, that'd be a red flag because you're not working to get better. All right. So if a person's not working on their mental and emotional state, that likely is a problem. Okay. If you look at what they are doing most of the time during their free time, what is it? Is it I'm kicking back, want to go hang with a certain group of gossip girls? Is it I need to go play ball all the time? Is it, I'm Netflix and chilling for 27 hours a week? I got a video game. I do this all the time. You know what I'm saying? There are things that we sometimes want to look past because we want something to work in a certain way. Or we like to materialize the fantasy of how it can work versus accepting things at face value. So if something appears to be a red flag, don't bypass it. Dig deeper into it. So just those same things apply to any relationship. It doesn't necessarily matter in polygyny. Polygyny is simply a form of marriage. That's it. All right, but polygyny is not going to work better than monogamy at work or any other type of marriage at work, period, just because it's polygyny. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? It's still the two people that are involved in that relationship. Hopefully that part helps, but it's about the growth and it's the learning because you can either learn and grow together and get better, or you can just rot. You know what I'm saying? We're not living and going in one direction only. We're living and dying at the same time. So the amount of cells that died in us by the time we started this live is happening. You know what I'm saying? You're the oldest you're the youngest you'll ever be today, right now at this very moment. And at the same time, you're also the oldest you have ever been. So we have to decide what we're going to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's about working to get better and moving in a certain direction, in my opinion, when it comes to recognizing red flags, because if the green flag is white flag, something wrong. It might be good for a month or two or what have you, but what's it looking like in long term? And we're talking about successfully being married, not just, being married for the sake of being married. Right. My ball and chain, my old woman. So anyway, here's another question.
It says, how do I go about expressing myself after being hushed to respect the initial wife's emotions, feelings, as she feels as though I should praise her as opposed to solely showing respect?
Praise
I was here first. You must know that. Show me, pay me homage.
You can be there first and end up not there at all with that attitude. I'm an initial wife, and there's a difference between, and I posted this, and I'm so glad this question came up, a difference between praise and respect. Praise is for Allah. Praise is for the Creator. So when we start to try to step above that, we have to really check our ego, and it really irritates me a great deal, and I'm very passionate about that. You don't get special rights because you're first in somebody's life timeline, because you really didn't create that timeline. So this initial wife and wanting praise for what exactly? That would be my question. What does it do for you? Does it make you feel better than someone else because do you feel like someone's beneath you?
Okay.
I've been said something, so I have to watch what I say. But because I've heard this before, and I don't like it, and it breaks things off into teams and sides, and it creates division and all these things when one person. And this could be subsequent. I've seen first wives be like, "Okay, cool, let's just work together," and the other ones, the subsequent ones, because there was more than two in this instance, are like, well, we're second and we're third and we're fourth and you're old and you're first and we're new, and it becomes this thing because It can go both ways, but typically I've seen it where the first wife mentally wants the second or subsequent wives to bow down to her ego. And it's irritating to me because it creates division and you're not allowed to be the one that's in charge. You're not running anything. So when you put yourself in that position of power, because that's what it is ego driven in some cases. But if you put praise and, don't mess up praise and respect, because respect goes for all the wives and the husbands. That should be a given. So I should get respect, my co-wife should get respect, our husband should get respect. Not, oh, y'all respect me and then forget them. Because I've seen, and people have tried to do it in my life. Where they go, well, you're the first one. Okay, that's just time. But that doesn't mean I'm better than someone else. Let's not get that messed up.
All right. Did you have anything to say on that?
I mean,
Okay, so you two,
did
y'all lucky. Because we got a little bit of time today. So MB, I don't know what that stands for. Man, boy, mighty bitter. I don't know, whatever. A whole bunch of things. So MB, by the way, peace, assalamu alaikum, salam, and shalom to Yah. Peace be on you as well, sir. I'm assuming that's a brother. All right, so MB says, so sad, two beautiful women. You can have a man protecting you in your home 24/7. Instead, you pick this. SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah on the end of that. So this is a Muslim. It's a Muslim. And then I'm very happy. My prophet advised to only marry one.
No.
They ignore that advice. Only pick and choose. Polygamy dilutes black wealth. Y'all are up.
Okay,
First,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna let you know that you need to study.
Yeah, you do.
You really need to study. Because there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, anyone who lies on me can take their seat in Jahannam.
Right.
And you will not find what the Prophet ﷺ said, marry only one. That's a person can only afford to deal with one. But Allah Ta'ala, Al-Hakim, the most wise, in Quran, tells you marry 2 or 3 or 4. But if you fear you are unable to do justice, then one. Al-Hakim, who do we worship? Allah Ta'ala. The one whom you said Subhanahu in saying Subhanallah to. The one you say Ya Rabb. Understand your deen before you open your mouth or you type because it affects you as a Muslim, every single deed. Now Al-Hakim says marry 2, 3, or 4. See, Islam, with the Prophet ﷺ, did not come and bring polygyny. Polygyny already existed. Islam restricted it to 4 at one time and provided rules and regulations. Now, we didn't used to be Muslim, but we also understood when we were Christian that it was said Solomon had 700 wives, 300 concubines. That's 1,000 women. He was alleged to be said to be the wisest man on the earth at the time. We know it's a prophet. We know that Prophet Ibrahim had 2 wives. Matter of fact, our prophet comes from his second wife, Hajar. Right? Radiallahu anha. So I would advise you as peacefully as possible to go and study this deen before you open your mouth, before you come and disrespect this deen of Islam. All right? And first of all, yes, these are 2 beautiful women. That's clear. Alhamdulillah, I am grateful. All right? Secondly, what woman wants a man in the house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Now, it may be that there are those who prefer beta men. I don't even know if you can call them men, but those who aren't masculine, who aren't doing their jobs and what they're supposed to be doing. Maybe there are those, but then the women who want those type of men tend to be the ones that are running the relationship and wearing the pants and dictating things for somebody like that. All right? That's not how it really operates here. I'm the leader and imam of the family. Yes, I take consultation from my wives and stuff like that. We're moving forward the same vision. You have a problem with that? No worries. You are not our business. Okay? But when those people who fight on the battlefield, they need testosterone. When decisions need to be made, there must be some type of CEO. There must be an executive decision. There's a structure for the family. And if the best of us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, demonstrated how to and advised how to with the best generation, his companions, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum wa ajma'in, all of them did it, then I would suggest to study a little bit more. Okay, MB? That's all I'm gonna say on that matter.
That's all they needed, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. You know what? Okay, we're gonna move on, but I just need to say it because we have a little time. But he says the hadith, the best of man is those who is kind to your wives. You forget that part. You didn't even read that part when you just proved yourself wrong, bro. Yeah, see, it says best to your wives. It doesn't say wife. Come on, even in translation. So with that being said, that's enough time for you. Go on with that. You know. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't like necessarily having to go there, but when you come here and you lie on the Prophet Islam, or you're saying something against Islam, and for those of you who are non-Muslims, don't worry, this is a little side discussion with some of the family that may be new or just might not understand. We still here regardless, but we Muslims. It's our life. You know what I'm saying? So we take mad offense to somebody who also claims to be Muslim. But in coming with not only their judginess, but then they're coming and they're lying on the Prophet Islam and not understand what Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran. See, this is an ancient form of marriage with a modern day solution. Where we currently live in the city we live in, 80% of households right now run by single women. All right. Now the question was just posed recently. I came across a YouTube video by Kevin Samuels, right? Interesting character. But he was talking about are women, he's talking to women saying, are you willing to negotiate to share what he calls a high value man? He takes care of you, does this and this, that time, children, but you allow, and we know that this is the society we live in. It is a reality. Islam gives honor to women by making them wives, giving them equal rights amongst each other. All right, anything else prior to or afterwards is just something else. But this ain't that. And also, as a father, and being responsible for 5 women, one, alhamdulillah, was already married. Tell me, where do you find these good men that are just there, this 24/7? Tell me, because that's a secret all women want to know. Where these good dudes at? Because as a wali, as a wakil, and some of my daughters actually prefer polygyny. They want to be in a polygynous marriage, and some don't. But it's my responsibility to find them. Where you finding these good men at? Please let the world know. Let's know your secrets. And about wealth, you need to learn how to probably get wealth. Okay, so you talk about. I can't even go any further with you, so I'm good with that. Hopefully that's good. Indeed. All right. So, alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everybody else who came in. Yeah, we have different homes. The Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, when he married, practiced polygyny. He didn't have them under one roof. I mean, first of all, we have a big family. A lot of people think polygyny is just us. It's not just us. All right, it's us, and then you got a dozen children. Okay, all right, ranging from almost 26 years old all the way down to 3. So we have a big family. Coach Fatimah and I, we have 7 children. Coach Nyla and I, we have 3, and I have 2 bonus children. Okay, so that's a dozen children at all. So we wouldn't even make sense to live in the same household unless it's about 15, 20,000 square feet. But it's not. So we have separate households, and the Prophet Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, had separate homes for his wives. They lived in close proximity as we live in close proximity, but they're separate homes. So we do not live under the same roof. Can that occur? Can they agree to something like that? Yes, they can, but they do have a right to their own homes and dwellings and stuff like that. Dude, Dr. Pat Gurley, exactly, yep. Actually speaking to a potential sister wife today. Congrats. Watch you all the month. I appreciate what you're doing. Allah guys, you all please. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma ameen. Again, any questions, throw the question mark in there because we're looking through them. Right now, I know I got a little off topic, a little passionate.
Well, that was
cultivating
relationships. Cultivating relationships. I'm totally off topic.
And it's so good to see you all down in the comments.
Yes.
We really appreciate the support for those of you who are progressive enough to understand.
Oh.
And it don't take that much progression. It's conservative. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick, how observing red flags from a distance because you live far away or because you can't meet, that is a more difficult thing, so you have to figure out, is this something you really want to get into? Just as Coach Nazir said earlier, just like you would do any other relationship, any other, marriage, whether it's polygyny or not, would you do this? Would you do this outside of outside of polygyny. I think some people do that. They do a lot of, for lack of a better word, like sacrificing. They say, well, it's polygyny, so it's different. The thing that makes it different is that it's one man married to multiple women. It's still marriage. You still mind your marriage, So as Coach Fatimah and I talk about a lot, we're monogamously married to Coach Nazir. He practices polygyny. We're in a polygynous union because he practices polygyny, but we're monogamously married to him. So you want to mind your marriage. So the same way that you would do it if it wasn't polygyny, it would be the same way in polygyny.
Got rid of it. You want to see it? Okay.
I don't want to say no more. I said, forget those comments.
Yeah, you're gone now. Indeed. You saying something?
No.
Okay, how do you get over hurt when a husband and co-wife hurt you when the husband remarried her and she thinks you should just get over the hurt?
How did they hurt?
She said she should.
Yeah. How do you get over the
How
hurt
do you know she said that?
when a husband and co-wife hurt you and husband remarried her and she thinks you should get over the hurt?
Well, my
I'm
question would be,
confused.
how would you know what she said about you hurting? And are these things, and I have to say this because sometimes, not to say, certain things are not happening to us because I don't know. However, make sure, you got to really look and investigate and see if something is truly, truly happening to you versus an assumption that something is happening to you. Many people assume that because we were in polygyny, I was somehow magically getting divorced and all this stuff was coming and Coach Nyla was trying to get rid of me and replace me and all types of stuff. I was sick. I mean, there were so many assumptions going around and around and around and more people adding more assumptions. And then they come to you with their stuff and then try to throw it on you as a wife, a subsequent wife, or whatever the case may be. But I know whether you're hurting or not hurting, or somebody thinks you are, you're not. If you are hurting, you have to give yourself permission to heal, first and foremost, because you have that power, no one else. So as much as someone would want you to heal, you got to want to heal for yourself and give yourself permission to do that, because if I think about like with my grandmother or, after she got divorced, my grandpa's been dead for over 25 years. And she let the fact that he hurt her run her. She let it fuel her into her bitterness. And I said, he's dead. He's gone. She said, yeah, I know he does. I said, but he's still got this power that you have not gotten rid of. You gave it all. You gave him all this power, and he's in his grave right now for a decade, and we still talking about what he did in 1984. And it's not that easy. But it was so sad to see her mind literally deteriorate, and she's now demented and suffering from dying from dementia at 86 years old because she could not get over her hurt. So be very careful, very, very careful about letting hurt and allow healing to control you versus hurt.
Indeed. And Coach Fatimah, I don't think you mentioned it, but she just wrapped up today's her training for the RMIC program that we have, the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle, where we go deeper, provide audios. We go live with our members every single week, different worksheets and everything else that go on. So we just finished that up. If you don't know about that, then outstandingpersonrelationships.com/RM to get details. And if you're watching via YouTube, make sure you share the video. Also like the video for the number of people you're seeing and the number of likes. If you like it. If you're MB, don't like it. Don't worry about it. I'm just saying. I'm sure she doesn't. All right. All right, let me see. How do you get a disrespect of the incoming wife, for example? She coming in saying the man can't do this and that with the family because she here now.
Okay, here's one thing I'm just going to say, because a lot of times people are saying, well, what if the wife is doing this and what if the wife is doing that? okay, seriously, when it comes down to it, women, y'all need to check yourself. We've been skirting over this too many dang on times. Women need to check themselves, and the husbands need to step up. Because seriously, I was trying to just not, but we hear it so much, and we talk about, kings being kings and queens being queens. You're not being a queen when you're sitting there battling each other, and you're part of the same family. And it's like, you got to do this, and he can't do that. Whether you want to believe it or want to accept it or not, y'all part of the same family. Y'all connected through him. Seriously.
Yeah, and you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, it's like
you have kids with him.
But men really have to step up and not let this stuff deteriorate and break down their family, because we're talking about this. This is outstanding personal relationships. This ain't okay relationships or kind of decent relationships. We are really trying to really get people to get it into their heads. Not only get into their heads, but really, we're adults here. So I'm going to actually talk like, we've been wearing the kid gloves and putting on the kid gloves for too long, and it's just time to stop it. We are adults here. We need to really realize that if we want our relationship to be outstanding, then we need to be outstanding. That the women need to get it together and stop with the bitterness and the back and forth and the fighting and all this other crazy stuff, and realize that we are family. If we want to win, we're going to win together. And we're going to make sure that we all working together as a family. And the husbands need to be able to be the leaders. Coach Nazir has a program on that, and we will be talking about that very soon, so you guys make sure you stay tuned. But seriously, women, Coach Fatimah and I, we're talking to you. Get it together.
And
we really have to get it together.
Quit letting your world revolve around one person, because within that, when you just let your whole world revolve around one man, I always say this, your husband is a man among other men.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to make mistakes. He's not godly, he's not godlike. So when you do that, there's some worship in there, whether it's intentional, unintentional, whatever the case may be. And that has to go checked. Like my co-wife was saying, it's like you have to create a life. Your husband is part of your life, the way you're part of his life, but he can't be your life.
Exactly.
That's how women can do things when men are not around. Like we pray, we get dressed. Mm-hmm. Coach Nazir has traveled this world in a few continents, a few countries. We prayed. We got dressed,
we ate,
showers, we did all that stuff. We checked the kids, we hugged the kids, we took the kids in the Uber, we went all over the place, because we drive our children. So we always say we're the Uber, right? They made it to their classes, they were educated. So we didn't ball up, fold up, fail, quit, or any of that when he wasn't around, because it's not about just one man that's among other men. You have to create a life for yourself. So if you do good with your life and your personal development, your husband and your family and yourself and all that stuff benefits from it, great. But you're not building yourself up for the sum parts of one person, which might happen to be your husband. Y'all better cut this out. If not, sign up for a relationship mastery.
So inner circle, I'm just saying, we talk about that and dig deep on that. It's only so much that we can do in a short Q&A, right. But seriously, we go deep on a lot of these things, and we are coming from a place of privilege. Right. We've done the work, we've done the study. So, it's easier for us right now to really seriously say, okay, from auntie to, auntie is telling you, we need to get it together, because
I gotta be honest with you.
Sister auntie. Okay, well, sister is trying to tell you, older sister. When it comes down to it, and I think about that when we talk to our, our siblings and stuff. When I talk to my sisters, I'm coming just like this, because you see the beauty and you see the potential. We want to see queens. Not ratchet, not savage, none of this stuff.
I'm not trying to be a bad bee either.
None of that. So when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, and relationship mastery in the circle, we talk about the mindset. We train on that. We train on the emotions and everything, because we have emotions. It's going to be some ups and downs. We may get mad and jealous and everything like that, but you know what? It's a way that you check that. It's the way that you build, yourself up and value yourself, because usually when you're doing a lot of this bitter stuff and evil stuff, that's because you got some issues with yourself.
No doubt.
You value him more.
So anyway,
it's a whole lot of that we can't go into right at this time, clearly. But So when it comes to men, I talked last week and spoke last week, at least on our YouTube channel, because I'm still banned from Facebook. But you might want to check the video out. It's called For the Men and For the Brothers. Because there are people that call themselves men, and in reality, you just mannish. Yeah. You've only just passed puberty. That's pretty much it. But you're not really a man. All right, at least not a man through the eyes of other men. Through men who are that have values, that are providing value for the families and everything else and the community and so on. So there are steps that it takes for men. All right, yet the desire is that to have more than one woman. That's clear, that's there, that's the most natural form of marriage. I don't think that there's not much argument with that when it comes to it, okay? The question is, are you equipped properly to be able to deal with it? When I get brothers saying, bro, how can I, help my wife understand this, or how can I get it? First of all, you got to get yourself straight first to become attractive to begin with. First, because if you're not married, you're single, you already think about polygyny, you slow it down, you can pull it back.
Exactly.
Work on you. You know what I'm saying? If you're working on you becoming more attractive, meaning, first outside of your health, being fiscally fit, trying to get that stuff straight. All right, then we go into the emotion, everything else that make you up, because we have a lot of hurt, we got a lot of trauma, we got a lot of stuff that we have to deal with first, and there's no point in dragging that into a relationship and causing all kind of problems. And messing up, destroying stuff. I got collateral damage and everything else. And now another generation talking about we got to break the generational curse of our parents, or what has happened, what's in my family. We got to be the ones to do it. Notice how, just only certain people, us in particular, are the ones that talk about generational curses, because we don't usually see the healthy things around that are thriving, that are being cultivated well. So it's our responsibility. So if you are immature and insecure and so hurt and so heartbroken by another human being, what's going to happen when they die? Because all of our relationships will absolutely end tragically. All of them. All right? Every single one of them, except the one you hold on to with la ilaha illallah. That's it. Every one of them will end tragically and hopefully be reunited in bliss and in Jannah. All right? But it's going to end tragically because it's death. We just buried one of the forefathers of a local masjid here to help form it a little over a week ago. And it was a beautiful day. You know what I'm saying? But he was here. He was gone. His wife had already died a few years ago. I'm seeing more and more friends and people and all this stuff pass. We already have a date on our calendar. So until we shift the priorities and get it straight, we're going to be choosing to suffer, because pain is a part of life. Pain is a part of life. One of my mentors told me a long time ago, pain, we all feel it. We're all going to experience pain. All right. But it's our choice on what type and whether or not we choose to suffer. But he told me the pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of discipline, self-discipline, self-awareness, working on yourself, increasing your education, your self-education. All of this matters. That weighs ounces to do. But the pain of regret weighs tons. So I can go grab the Krispy Kreme. You know what I'm saying? Or I could choose to fast for the day. All right, I could choose to go ahead and learn more about it so it can affect my health and change my habits and get better. But you know what? That takes work. It's inconvenient. And it's so easy to just be lazy and do that and have all that regret. So, brothers, it's required of you to become more if you want more and want to make more of an impact. So, since we talk about the challenges and polygyny and going back and forth, look, also, don't fall for the hype of looking at us right now in our year or chapter 11, let's say, and you in chapter 1 or 4 or 6 or whatever it may be, but not doing that other necessary work. Exactly. So when we talk about the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle program, we talk about the True Queens course or our Kings and Kingdoms course and all these different things we're talking about, or the Successful Marriage Challenge that we put together for everybody. When we're talking about that, we're talking about how it fits in these different stages of your life, how you can take that education and put it in. Now, you might not have the money. Maybe that's the case. Then that means another study is needed there as well when it comes to it. Yep. And of course, we're talking about being fiscally fit. And some of you got money. Y'all got a stimulus. The stim. But priorities might be, look, I need to get these J's. I need to get this game. I need to get these fake lashes. I need to get whatever. But if your relationships are still suffering, then that's just a reflection that we are not investing in us. And we are our most important assets. Period. They can take everything away. Every person, every item, everything away. But if you have this right, you'll be better. You'll know how to process it, how to deal with it. We have the story of Prophet Ayub alayhi salam. The Prophet Job in the Bible is called, right? But if we're not utilizing these lessons, we stuck. We stuck in poor relationships that are of our own doing. So when they say life is what you make it, how true. I didn't know how significant that was until passing the age of 40. So anyway, we're going to some big old thing to have a whole talk right here. So
I think everything, this was a day that said, you know what, we have time today. Let's make sure that people understand. Because we're talking about spring. It's new stuff, new, we're cultivating things. And it's like we got to really let a lot of that old baggage die. Like, seriously, we need to figure out, how do I want to grow? How do I want to, bloom? How do I want to do these things? And
I might not want to bloom
as
a man, but y'all know what she said.
But how you want to do these things, how we want to grow. And in order to grow, something we got to let go of some of the crap that's been holding us back. And we got to figure out what crap is that's holding us back.
We know what it is.
Yeah, we know.
We all know what it is. It's funny because the higher you want to go somewhere on a trip, whether you hiking or climbing a mountain, you need to actually lighten up in order to move quicker. Yep. All right?
Yeah, sign up.
Indeed. Okay, cool. Anyway, if y'all got another question, we'll take like maybe one more question. Put some question marks though,
right, so
we can easily find it, at least on YouTube.
Shade from questions.
No. I mean, this love. Sometimes we need to, we need that.
But
to get that.
I also think that also helps people who are watching, who are in polygyny or who are thinking about polygyny and things like that. And they're wondering, because we have thick skin, guys. And I know everybody is not like that. Everybody, they want it, or not everybody wants it, but there are some people that want it. And it's like, well, how do I do that? Because I know there are going to be people that are probably going to come for me or going to talk about this. So we're kind of, we're the ones that's going to kind of let people have it or put them in a place, or at least educate you on how to kind of deal with it, because they're not living your life. Right. You're living your life. You got to figure out what's best for you and what's best for your situation, what's best for your marriage, what's best for your legacy. We talk about legacy building and legacy all throughout outstanding personal relationships, because what are you looking to leave behind? How do you want your footprint to be, on this earth? How do you want people to see you as? Are you just going to be just a distant memory? Or are you going to be a person that was like, yeah, she did this and that, or he did this and that, and he was just, and like I said, it's the interesting thing is I watched Coach Nazir's training. Some of his stuff's coming from some of his training that I'm like, it's still fresh. It's this freshness. So here's the thing. Fresh. Even though we, do trainings and different things, that we watch ourselves too. This is a thing that we do, and we continue to grow.
And our children watch it.
Our children watch it, everything like that, because it's one thing to just talk the talk. It's another thing to be able to talk it and walk it too. And you are also taking your own advice. There's so many people that are out there that people are like, oh, goals, they're goals. And then next thing you know, you find some scandal, and then you're like, oh my God.
You get you Will and Jada.
Yeah, Will and Jada. His one.
They got what's his name now? Derek Jackson.
And Derek Jackson. So they be like, goals. And I'm like, ooh, I didn't know this. But my thing is, they have great advice, and I've said that on a number of lives and trainings and stuff. Advice is amazing, but if you're not utilizing the stuff that you teach, and then time will promote or expose you.
Right.
So this is 11 years in, guys. So, and it came from learning and growing and doing these different things that we are putting out for everybody else as well.
All right, so last question. When is the book being released? Well, when we can get a date from our editor, then we'll let you know. Prayerfully next month. April is one of my favorite months on the planet. So yeah, so hopefully, prayerfully next month. But if you're on our email list, you're gonna know. So you will be notified, and not just be notified, but you also will get a discount and some other stuff that we have going on that we're planning and working with it. So thank you for asking. But our book will be out shortly. it's serious. It's pretty deep. So, man, I wish we had it a long time ago, and I wish we'd been done with it a long time ago too, to get it out to more people. So, nevertheless, we appreciate you. We're gonna end with some GLC.
Make sure you are growing intentionally.
Loving fearlessly.
And connecting on a higher level every single day. All right, y'all. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Shout out to NB.